Now, Piotr Kaczyński, an EU expert from Geremek Foundation, is joining us right now to discuss the issue.
Good evening, sir. Delighted to have you with us.
Good evening. Nice to be.
Let me start by asking you about this NATO summit, because Ursula von der Leyen won't be there. And she used a similar argument to the one that Joe Biden used when he was refusing to attend the Ukraine summit in Switzerland. So my question is it a sign that the EU considers this NATO summit unimportant? Because both Borrell and Michel are outgoing politicians, right?
No, I wouldn't put it that way, that NATO is not important, or security issues are not important, or transatlantic issues are not important. They are super important. Security is paradigm right now for everybody. In NATO, in United Nations, EU, pretty much everybody is concerned about what's going on in Eastern Europe. So, of course, that's not what's going on. What is going on is that, well, first, internal issues are more important than external issues. Everywhere, always. This is one of the most important lessons for everybody who's is interested in politics. Internal issues are more important than external issues, always. And this issue here right now is about securing second mandate. Ursula von der Leyen doesn't have 361 votes secured yet, and she needs to basically work about it. So this is why she's going to stay in Brussels to work about getting as many votes as she can.
Now, do you think she's going to be successful when it comes to working for her votes?
I think I'm optimistic here because, of course, those scenarios that you were basically presented before, those are good scenarios, of course, but the real scenario is not going to be like this. It's not so simple. Probably it will be a coalition which we know, the 400 votes between EPP, S&D and Renew Europe, but there will be some other people who are going to vote for her because this is a secret ballot, and we can think that probably some Green MEPs will vote for her after the meeting that they are having with von der Leyen. Also, some of those members of the parliament could vote for her as well. We shouldn't forget about 8 members of the parliament from one Italian party, M5S, Movimento of the 5 Stars, and they were voting for Ursula von der Leyen 5 years ago. So maybe there are some pockets out there where Ursula von der Leyen can get more than last time. Last time she got 9 votes more than what she needed, but for example, people from Peace Party, Polish party, were voting for her. This time round, she's going to get that. But for example, why not Giorgia Meloni's members of the parliament? Maybe some of them, there are 24 of them, maybe they will vote for Ursula von der Leyen because the next commissioner from Italy would get a pretty nice portfolio, probably. So let's see what's going to gonna be there, but I'm quite optimistic about it.
But Meloni has been called a queen maker, I guess, for a reason. But assuming that Ursula von der Leyen manages to secure this position, what are some of the key policies that she will champion? Because before it was the Green Deal, I guess it sort of lost its appeal now.
Yes, there is definitely a change of themes in the next kind of 5 years programming. The main focus right now is on security. We have seen it in the strategic agenda that the European Council just adopted, and this is quite important, that security is number one issue right now. So we had, for example, meeting yesterday in Warsaw between Tusk and Scholz. What they were talking about: security. What is going on in NATO summit in Washington? Security. Everybody's talking about security. So security issue is the number one issue right now, also for the EU. How EU will organize this, we have to wait for what is the proposal truly. As for the Green Deal, it's still there. Implementation Green Deal is there, but for example, we are hearing that EPP, Ursula von der Leyen party, would like to change some of those laws that were adopted last 5 years, including 2035, let's say, deadline for cars. So we'll see what's going to be there, what is going on with the Green Deal. This will be one of the most important, of course, issues, but not number one issue anymore.
Right, because we have to mention migration issues. That is also a top topic for EU leaders. Now, today we found out that the Dutch government wants to opt out from EU migration policy. Now, that may result in a clash with Brussels for Dutch government. But what is this mechanism about, opting out?
Opting out, it's effectively a mechanism where one country tries to be outside of the law that the EU is having. So, for example, when you have a country like Denmark, Denmark has some opt-outs because Denmark got those opt-outs when the treaties were negotiating. Basically, in 30 years ago, when Maastricht Treaty was there, then Denmark was saying, well, we are not going to be interested in having some of those issues, so we are not we are going to get an opt-out from those policies, and that is possible at the treaty level. But this is not so possible when you have a law that is there, accepted for everybody in the EU, and you just say, I cannot apply this law. It doesn't work like this. EU laws are applicable everywhere in the EU. This is why we have free movement of people, we have free movement of goods, etc., etc. So you cannot opt out from one law, even if you don't like it. So this will be a big, let's say, controversy between The Hague and Brussels. But we have had those controversies before with other governments. So this is kind of natural out there. And you may remember that when Meloni was a prime minister, first month when she was a prime minister, Ursula von der Leyen sent this message to Meloni: watch out with the rule of law, watch out with your policies, because we are watching you. And this is what's going on. Brussels is, well, there's a saying that the European Commission is a guardian of the treaties. So this is why the Commission needs to make sure that all the governments are actually respecting the treaties. And if The Hague is not going to respect the treaties, well, there is always the court in Luxembourg who will say what is going on here, and then there will be consequences for this. But before going there, the Dutch have a coalition. This is not a government that is, let's say, one-party government, and this coalition. Some people from in the Netherlands are saying that it doesn't look so promising for this government to survive 4 years. Right. Also because of those controversial issues such as migration policy.
Right, of course, security is at the very top of the strategic agenda for the EU for this next term, but it requires funding, right? And recently, Poland, Lithuania and Latvia issued a letter asking for EU support in defending the external border. So do you think that they will receive this support? Will we get funds from the EU to secure our border?
I think there's a fantastic debate right now on this funding issue, because the funding issue we have seen over recent years that we have a normal EU budget, right? This is kind of a traditional EU budget. And then after COVID, it got doubled. It got doubled because of a necessity to recovery after the COVID. And this budget will be gone by 2026. And right now, there's so many people, including Polish Prime Minister and those others Prime Ministers, but also some other important people, such as Thierry Breton was talking about it a few months ago. They are saying we need a new budget for defense spendings. And well, whether it's going to work like this or not, we'll see. But the proposal is out there, and this is a big conversation right now. I wouldn't speculate that it's going to be. It's not impossible. I would say there's like a 50-50 possibility that it's going to be there after, let's say, 2026, so that there will be a new extra budget, but this time about defense.
Piotr Kaczyński, Geremek Foundation, thank you, sir, for being with us this evening and for your insights. Much appreciated.
Thank you. Have a good evening.